name's Tenebris and welcome back to Road to Vostok. Before we get into the video of the day on our TV, we have a little bit of news that is really hype. So, the demo is pretty much done up and good to go and will be sent into certification end of next week if all things go smoothly. Steam's certification takes like 3 to 5 business days, so we could be getting a release date for the demo within the next 2 weeks at least, which is so sick, man. I'm literally on the edge of my seat to dive into this game, so stay tuned for that release date, hopefully coming very soon. But with the hype news aside, today we've got a really fun one speculating on the potential of hunting in Road to Vostok and what it could bring to the table. If you dudes have any thoughts or feelings on hunting in Road to Vostok, please let me know in the comments down below. I feel like there is a huge potential for hunting in this game for a bunch of reasons, from things like the game's design and future plans to the game's inspirations and setting off in Finland. Now, first off, let's talk about this potential thing because I think this is big, especially for any of you out there that, like me, would love to see hunting in RTV. So, firstly, we have the prospect of fishing in Road to Vostok, which Auntie, the developer, has mentioned is something he'd like to look into outside of boating as a feature for the game. With a balance of hunting and fishing to go alongside looting through villages and intense combat, it'll create a lot of well-balanced and varied gameplay using the core gameplay of looting and shooting at its premise. I mean, you aren't going to be shooting the fish, but you get what I'm saying here. But the other side of potential comes from this game's inspirations, one of the big ones being DayZ. In DayZ, there's a hunting system for you to get food and crafting materials, which crafting is also something I think will be a great feature in this game, but that's definitely a topic for a different video. I've never really played DayZ myself, but from a bit of googling, it seems like hunting was a pretty big gameplay loop for the game. And another one of the big inspirations for RTV, in Stalker Anomaly, we see a sort of hunting too. Even though hunting in Stalker isn't like going out and tracking down whitetail, still, the core premise is there, and bartering these items away for a decent profit or cooking them into purified foods is one of the many solid gameplay loops in Stalker, and one that I think could be totally applicable to Road to Vostok. With two big games that have inspired RTV's creation alongside the premise of boating and fishing, I don't think hunting is such a long shot in the game, especially with the game engine it's made in. Unity has tons of survival games, so some of the groundwork and bits of code might already have open sources to use, if this is something that the developer Auntie ultimately decides as a feature he'd like to include. Now, on another hand, Road to Vostok setting in Finland really benefits hunting too. One of my favorite maps added to a game called Hunter Call of the Wild is Reventuli Coast, which is based straight off Finland. It's a really awesome environment and has a ton of fun game to hunt, from birds to deer to bear and moose, which means if this does ever become a thing, there'd be a lot of justifiable animal variety for us to hunt, from the things that I said before, from like grouse to moose and deer, to a bunch of critters like red fox, raccoon dogs, minks, and even beavers, which, you know, Canada, woo. But maybe we could have to carry like a hunting knife, like in Stalker, so that we could kind of skin and harvest things. Dude, again, just big potential. Okay, funny aside, while making this video, I went down a weird rabbit hole and found out that Russians tried to hybridize Canadian beavers and Eurasian beavers, the ones that would be obviously out in Finland, like 27 times and failed each time, which is just weird as heck. But anyway, back to the topic. We also know that we'll be using some pretty high-end weapons like the HK416 as we progress through the game, and that means late-game hunting in Vostok could be a ton of fun. You just run up, blast on full auto, and walk out with filthy profit. But there could also be a ton of risk involved in going hunting, especially early game, from animals like moose and bear having aggressive behaviors, to stuff even further than that. For now, we don't know very much about factions in Road to Vostok. We only know of Russians, border guards, and traders so far. but there is a huge chance that we could see much more roles played in the world. For instance, something like the bandit faction in Stalker, or scavs in Tarkov, the locals that have lived in these desolate areas for a very long time, just looking for any opportunity to survive the rugged wastelands they inhabit. And in Vostok, if we do see some sort of scavenger bandit-esque faction, these guys could be looking to provide for themselves by poaching and hunting and taking any opportunity they can to make sure that they're fed. Now, it's not like this whole faction has to be hostile towards us. Things could be much more nuanced than that. But if we run into them in the woods, or maybe while they're looting, they could totally be justified in attacking us to defend themselves. Meaning that bumping into them, again, especially early game, could be a pretty dangerous scenario for our character. And the last reason why I think hunting would be a really solid feature, we know about an upcoming bartering system in the game that will be really awesome to see in its final state. We could be working with cold hard cash in our bartering, or we could be using the stuff we loot to barter for items of similar value. And this is where hunting could really shine as a feature. If we were to go out and hunt some raw materials for trade, and have food to trade and keep for ourselves, it would just be a really rich addition to the bartering system overall. Having a chance to go out and get materials to barter in the early game, and then having something as a more recreational type of profiting for the late to mid game, all with an adequate amount of risk involved. I think it'd be great, man. So let's turn this over to you dudes now. What do you think of hunting in a hardcore FPS game? Do you think it would be a good fit for this one? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, thank you very much for watching this fun little discussion video on RTV. Again, the demo will be coming very soon, so stay tuned for more on that on the official channel or on my channel here. But for now, I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.